guys, it's Danny. Today we're taking a little break from the discus saga that I do believe we are on as we speak, and I'm gonna show you how I put together this nano planted tank for one of my new betta fish, the most ungrateful betta fish of life. I'm kidding, he's not ungrateful, he's just cannot be bothered. It's the betta fish that has, oh, now he's coming. Yes, we're getting friends. He's the least interested betta fish I have ever seen. Usually bettas are very communicative in that way. This guy, like, okay, you gave me this house. He's fancy. So for this nano tank, I did things a little bit differently. Typically, I go for aquarium soil and things of the sorts. I kept it rather simple and kind of cheap, let's say, affordable, not cheap, for this tank, just to make it more approachable to beginners. So I'm gonna tell you how I put it together, and hopefully this will help you out and inspire you. And I'll come back towards the end of the video with more details about the tank. So before we begin, let me just say this is not a sponsored video. All of the products that I will mention in this video are purchased by myself, and I use them because I find them available. There are many other brands that produce the very same products, so please feel free to use whatever you find available in your area or whatever you like best. Alright, so here is the tank. It is a custom-made tank. I really do like these little cubes, as I like to call them. And this would be the minimum size that I would put a betta in, even a long-veiled betta, which this one, the betta that I'm going to show you today, is. In the back, I have a nano filter, which is super affordable, and I find it very good. And best of all, it has an adjustable flow. The substrate will just be plain gravel. This, I don't even remember the brand because I bought it a long time ago. I used it in other setups and I saved it and just rinsed it for the setup. It is a light colored gravel with no added fertilizers or anything of the sorts, just your standard gravel that you can find at the pet shop. So I'm adding a 4 to 6 centimeter high level just to be sure I can plant my plants. And then I'm going to decorate it with some serious stones. They go by different names. They're one of the more affordable options of decorative stones at the pet shop, and I have quite a bit of it that I've used throughout the years in other setups. You can always reuse it, just wash it in between tanks, and it's perfectly fine to reuse. Now, when I'm doing these scapes, I spend too much time on trying to come up with a shape. I don't really have a good vision for scaping, so there's a lot of trial and error involved. Don't worry if you're the same, I feel you. Then I'm gonna use a spider wood piece that I purchased at the pet shop as well. Again, one of the more affordable options at the pet shop. It has been used again in other setups, so it will not go through that moldy stage, which if it's a brand new piece, it will go through. Practically, you will collect a slime on it in the first weeks, but that's okay, it's absolutely normal. So I'm arranging it the best that I can, and then I will glue it to the rocks with some super glue gel. Spider wood initially floats. It takes a couple of weeks or so to completely get submerged, so it's a good idea to glue it to the rocks, and super glue is a very common and safe glue for aquariums. Now, I didn't have time to continue that particular day, so here we are the next day. I'm just checking the wood piece to see if it's stable, and if the glue dried and it's completely stable, it's not going anywhere, so I can continue with planting. Now, all of the plants that I chose for the setup are low maintenance, meaning they do not require a lot of light, they don't require really addition of CO2, and you can do good with them with just regular fertilizer tabs, as you will see further on. So all of the plants that you see mentioned on the screen, they are really easy to work with. They should grow and look absolutely beautiful. And as you can see, I do also have a few red plants, which are notorious for being a little bit more finicky. Well, there are a few which you can actually keep in low intensity setups. Your best friends will be cryptocorynes for sure, the vast majority of cryptocorynes, to be fully honest. And they will also take care of the excess nutrients in your aquarium because they are pretty heavy feeders. The spotlight of this tank is a cryptocoryne pink flamingo. This one is the most finicky of all cryptocorynes pretty much, but it's not that bad. Definitely worth trying. On the wood, I will go with a small form of bulbitis. It is the first time that I see it in shops. Now, this one doesn't need planting, or rather should not be planted, but it should be attached to pieces of wood or rocks. And I do so again using super glue, as you can see. Don't be afraid to use super glue, it's absolutely safe for fish and all other life in your tank. Then of course we're gonna add a heater because it's winter time and I know the water will go below 25 degrees Celsius. And really bettas should not be kept cold. So make sure you can provide between 25 and 28 degrees Celsius for bettas. Now as for fertilizer, I will be using some crypto tabs from Tetra. Since we're not using aqua soils or any type of fertilized substrate, it is very important to add nutrient tabs to the root systems, particularly cryptocorynes, which are heavy root feeders and will not do all that well without something in the soil. In time, debris and fish poop and all of those things, they will make their way to the roots of these plants and they will thrive. The older your aquarium gets, the more these plants will thrive. But in the beginning, they absolutely need some help. And from time to time, it's beneficial to add root tabs. So here I'm adding the water. I'm using tap water and I'm dechlorinating it with Sechem Prime. You can use whatever dechlorinator you find in your pet shops. I have a lot of Sechem because I find it locally and you don't need to use a whole lot of it, so it lasts a long time. Now, I know you will want to put your fish in today. So that's exactly what I did, just to show you it is absolutely possible to put the fish in the exact same day. But you need to use bacteria. So I'm using again Sechem, which is a collection of bacterias. Again, you can find these bacterias from other brands as well. It doesn't matter. And I know you see a lot of people, including myself, saying don't put the fish in for a week or two or something like that. Let me tell you the truth. Without aqua soil, I believe, it is my opinion, that you cannot properly cycle or accumulate a good enough bacteria colony. It just doesn't work. You cannot produce enough ammonia to sustain them. No ammonia, no bacteria. That is the only condition to have bacteria in your tank. So what I like to do are fish in cycles when I'm using gravel. When I use aqua soil that releases ammonia, no, I do not put fish for a week or 2 or 3 depending. But for gravel tanks, it is absolutely okay to put them in the first day and then make sure you do your water changes and keep an eye on for that ammonia. You can get some tests, and I do encourage you to always get tests, especially if you're a beginner. You can get strip tests or one of those, liquid drops tests, whatever. You'll see in this tank I have a test that sits in the water, which tells me if I have an ammonia spike. It is imperative you have an ammonia test. In the first week or 2, you'll have to do your tests and you will have to use your bacteria colonies in accordance to the prospect of your product. It is very important. But in this way, you will cycle your filter media and actually your entire tank. Without a fish in, it is my opinion that you cannot properly cycle it. And you can let this tank run for a month with anything inside, just some fish food or whatever, and it will not be cycled. I've been through it. So yes, good news for those of you who are in a rush, you can put your fish in the first day. But just put one fish, not all of them. So here's my Betta, which, I will admit, I already had him because I saw him in a pet shop in a cup. He was so beautiful, I decided I'm gonna take him home and I'm gonna make a tank for him. So I had him in different little tank until I finished this tank. So here I am acclimating him to the temperature. I'm just sitting the bag inside of the aquarium. Then I'm gonna open the bag and then slowly add water from the tank inside the bag, little by little. I do this for about half an hour or so just to get him adjusted to the water parameters because they might differ from the container where I had him. And now it is time to release him in the water. And hey presto, we have a tank with a fish. So again, it is a little bit maybe sensitive or controversial to put fish in the first day. And as a beginner, you are advised not to do that. If you can wait a week, okay, fine, wait a week. But in my experience, even if you wait a week, you will still get an ammonia spike because you simply don't have enough bacteria yet. So what I would propose is you start off with one fish at a time or one fish and some snails. If you want to add shrimps as well, wait a few days to a week and then add shrimps. And I actually did add shrimps to this tank a little later as well, and it all worked out. Now, Tank mates for betta fish? Yes, it is absolutely possible. And in my experience, the vast majority of betta fish will accept shrimps and snails. And as you can see, Tango here, yes, I named him Tango because he's just so elegant. He was really curious about the snail. Probably it's the first time he sees a snail in his life, to be fully honest. But then he figured that it's not a threat and it's not necessarily food, it's a little big. And he's absolutely fine with the snails. He's also absolutely fine with the shrimps. But it's not the case for all bettas. You have to know bettas are sometimes temperamental, they have a personality of their own, and the only way to know if your betta can accept tank mates is trial and error. You have to try it out. There is no going around the bush with it, or whatever the saying is. It's trial and error. If you see your betta starts to attack shrimps, like adult shrimps, then he's not compatible with shrimps. He will eat them. If you see him not care about the shrimps, then your betta can be kept with shrimps. That's the truth. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's hard to know the temperament of a betta until you try it. But luckily for me, Tango is a really good fish. He's also not a fast swimmer. That helps as well. But choosing a tank that is not very tall will help him reach his food and go grab air. And this is why I actually like low cubes for betta fish or for veily betta fish. And another note before we end the video, I would go for a larger tank if you have a betta with short fins. Long-finned bettas do not swim as much, and while yes, they do need space, they don't really need as much space as other bettas, and make sure the flow of your filter is not high enough to tumble him over. These fish are quite sensitive to high flow and they can rip their fins. Alrighty, so let's get back to future Danny. Alrighty, here we are. I should get chairs whenever I film these types of tanks, but it's okay. We're gonna deal with what we have. So the tank is now running for about a week. It has stabilized, partly because I am using Cechem stability for adding bacteria, but also because I do not have soil. One of the quote-unquote drawbacks of soil is that they do release in the water quite high amounts of nitrogen. Now, in the beginning of a tank, it is more likely to get an algae outbreak with aqua soils than with plain gravel. Also, the root tabs that I used, Tetra claims that they do not have nitrogen and phosphorus, which are, let's say, the main culprits for an algae outbreak. So I can tell you for sure I do not have an algae outbreak. The floating plants that I got from somebody, actually, they're doing a fantastic job absorbing whatever I have in the water. And also, this tank is not heavily stocked at all. I only have the betta fish and some snails. I'm also going to add some shrimps because they do a very good job at removing all of the uneaten food and so on, but I want to get a particular color of shrimps and I do not find it in stock. So I'm just gonna wait with the shrimps. It's okay. And I do now weekly water changes. I change, let's say, a third, and I do try to vacuum the gravel as much as I can. I have a mini vacuum gravel from the Nerle and it does a really good job. I really don't have a lot of dirt accumulating or anything since it's so understocked. And regarding the light, yes, I know I'm running a pretty expensive light, but it doesn't matter. You can use, I have some Aquarium LED lamps, I think. Those are very affordable. You can use those as well on a timer. My life revolves around timers. I have so many timers in this room, it's not even funny. So whenever I can find something that doesn't run on a timer, it has a built-in timer, I'm gonna get it. But it doesn't mean anything. You can use whatever light, as long as it's not very, very, very powerful. Don't put 100 watts worth of light on this tank. You know, it doesn't need more than 10 watts or something, and I think you should be fine with that. And don't leave the light on for more than 8 hours or so a day. Maybe with age you can go for 10 hours. Now I have it set on 6 hours, and we'll see how it does. If it's good, I'm gonna set it on 8 hours, and that is about it. This is how you put together a betta tank very, very fast. It is important to always, always, always monitor water parameters, no matter what you hear some people say on the internet. Alright, I will be honest, I took a break from filming this aquarium because I had some issues with my Oase filter. Probably you're gonna see the video on that as well. But anyway, everything is okay now. Let's end this video. I do maintenance once a week now and I try to vacuum the gravel as much as possible. It's much easier to vacuum than aqua soil. The downside is that I do not have the benefits of aqua soil, like reduced pH and all of that, but I try to put botanicals and the wood does a good job. So yeah, there are pros and cons with everything, but I do believe gravel is a little bit more friendly to beginners. Oh, I was saying something about ammonia and stuff. Yeah, because it's gravel and it doesn't leach out nutrients, cycling is a lot faster. Usually I like to do in-fish cycling. I try to make sure that I keep the ammonia in check and I add bacteria and I do more frequent water changes until I get some bacteria in the filter, but definitely it is not as dramatic as it is with aqua soils. So I think this is quite friendly for beginners, and Betta fish should be okay, let's say, with not ideal pHs. They are pretty strong fish, and many of the times they are bred in water with higher pH and harder water and so on. This is an alternative type of style, planted style. I would definitely not go non-planted. Any type of plant you can put in there, it's always welcome and it will always help you with the chemistry of the water. You don't have to go aqua soil all of the times, as you can see, and choosing low maintenance and very strong plants will also help, such as cryptocorynes and everything that I used in this tank. Alrighty, so with that said, thank you so much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed watching today's video and hanging out with me, and with that said, I'll see you guys next time, probably in another Discus TED Talk. Bye!